Today we are reacting to some quotes from Joe Satriani. If someone can relate my guitar solo to an exercise in a book, that's no fun at all. Yeah, like for sure, like you don't want to be playing some shit which is so methodical. At least you don't want to be known for that. Like you can have parts in your playing which are very um, by the book, but yeah, obviously you want your art to actually be unique. Like, and this quote, it really sucks when music is so perfect you just don't need to hear it anymore. I'm sure we can relate to this a lot now. This is from 1989. But when you think about today, everything is so clean sounding. Everything sounds like it's been mixed perfectly. Like, it's kind of funny. Like, I remember there was this one song which I had difficulty mixing, right? And there's this guy who basically he had asked me to make some artwork or like a video for one of his tracks. And I was like, okay, cool, I'll make it for you, but why don't you, because you're a mix engineer, like a professional mix engineer, why don't you mix this track for me? Because this is one track which I can't get it to sound as good as I want, right? So he's like, yeah, sure, I'll do that. And I sent him the track. And he was like, yeah, just adjust the levels and all and send it to me. So I did all that stuff. But the track what he sent back, the mix, it really sucked. Like, and that's the thing. Like with the people who work, like that guy worked on a lot of stuff in the, I'm guessing in the film industry and stuff like that, in the ad industry and shit. So yeah, they want people who know all the technicalities, right? And his mix was like really flat, boring, and it made my song sound worse than it did. And I already thought it didn't sound mixed very well. So I just ended up releasing the one which I mixed. Because, but how does that, wait, that doesn't relate to this, does it? Because it wasn't perfect. But he was chasing perfection in a technical sense. Like he was trying to, maybe he was like trying to like scoop out frequencies and like do some, make sure there's no phase cancellation or whatever the fuck they think about, right? But it just sounded like shit. And he used to make beats for this other guy who I worked with, who was a rapper who also wasn't very good. And when I say it wasn't very good, it's like who's good and who's bad, right? Like there's no objective way to say that. But let's just say, like, I remember that guy came over to record on some tracks, right? And I put on the beat, and he's just sitting there with a pen and paper. He's like, yeah, man. I'll just give me 5 minutes. Let me write down some stuff. And then after 5 minutes, like, I can't really write anything to this really. So I was like, fuck it, just like say some random shit into the mic. So he did that. Then I chopped up what he did and then turned that into a hook by basically moving it around, fixing up the cadence and shit, basically making it sound interesting. And then, see, the way I work is I feel like every artist should reach a point where they don't really have to think deeply about actually creating. Like if you're like, okay, I want to create something, yeah, it's done. And yeah, he couldn't do that. And so he basically just recorded like half a hook, which I had to turn into like an actual hook. And then I just record a bunch of verses on top of that and added harmonies to the hook which he recorded because it was kind of out of tune. So yeah, so the guy who sent me the mix used to make beats for this guy, and those beats also sounded very flat. But see, people work in the industry, like, and they think like it's about going by the book, right? So I don't know what Joe means when he's saying perfect, but that is another type of perfect which it's not like it's good and that's why you don't want to hear it anymore because it's stuck in your head. It's more like those people are so obsessed with making something perfect in the bookish sense, where it's like someone told me it'll be perfect if I do this, so they do that and it sucks. Okay, this seems very contextual. My inspirations don't come from outer space, they just come to me. I have no idea why they come when they do. So yeah, I'm sure I bet everyone can relate to that when you're creating stuff. Like, especially after a long time of creating stuff, you stop thinking you're creating the ideas because you're not. It's more like your brain is just like reacting to what the world is giving it, and it's just like a reaction. Song ideas have come to me in the middle of interviews, in the shower, while I'm writing another song. Yeah, like this is pretty basic stuff. Like wikiquote has some pretty basic ass quotes on here too. It's like this quote, it really sucks and music is so perfect you just don't need to hear it anymore. This quote actually, it has some uniqueness to it, but this is just like something which a lot of musicians would say anyway, right? And I bet they have in interviews. So yeah, I write the songs first and in most cases teach myself. That's pretty deep. Like this one is, I can vibe with it. I get what he's saying, and that goes across like many mediums, right? Like for example, say you're developing a game, right? So you need to know how to like actually code the game architecture in the way that actually creates the gameplay you want. And so that's a technique, right? But maybe you have the idea first, but you don't know how it's actually gonna come about. So then you teach yourself the prerequisite things you need to actually pull it off. And in the case of guitar, like maybe you've listened to someone who plays really well and you know that you want to play that, right? So you could try and like make some learn that guy's style and do it that way, or you could just try and go straight to your rendition of it. But the idea does come first before you dive into technique. I feel like if you're technique first, like you're driven by your technique, it does kind of box you in terms of your actual ideas and things like that, because you'll always be thinking from, okay, I'm already good at this, so it would be easy if I just do this. And it can seem like the better thing to do most of the time, but it also limits your exploration. So I think that's a pretty nice quote. I don't know why some of them are bold and some are not. My first guitar lesson lasted 2 weeks and it was Jingle Bells. Didn't make any sense at all. I wanted to know how to play like Hendrix. My first guitar teacher sucked. He was the worst guitar teacher ever. So what he did was, and he had a pattern, like he used to do this to a lot of his students. So he would only give them about 12 lessons before he would like disappear, because he didn't know anything after that. So what he would do is he'd teach you like a bunch of chords, right? He'd jump straight into the chords. But the thing is, he would kind of shame you for like actually not knowing how to play in the beginning. He'd be like, oh, and he'd tell me shit like, the reason you can't play the chords is your fingers are too fat. See, look at my fingers, they're so thin. So that's just like dumb. Like, firstly, that's not why I wasn't able to play. And you have to be careful of teachers like that, because they're just there to like take your money and then run away when they can't really teach you anything. The second teacher I had was like years later, and he was actually good. But then I had to stop taking his classes after a couple of years because it was like conflicting with college, and I would sometimes forget that he's coming for a lesson, and also he wanted me to go and give those Trinity exams, so he was kind of more focused on that. He's like, you should go and give the Trinity guitar exam, and I gave like one of them, but I was like, what is the point of this? And by that time I had figured out how to learn by myself, because once you figure out the basics of like scales and chords and basic rhythm, then you don't need a teacher like every week to come and like play with you, right? You just need to keep practicing and exploring different styles. But yeah, I wanted to play like Frusciante, and I wanted to play like Hendrix and Frusciante, they were like my main inspiration as well. I've always spent a lot of time on my records with what I think were unique rhythmic approaches, but no one ever writes about your rhythm playing. Yeah, I remember when I was young, I used to I didn't know much about like guitar and stuff like that. In fact, I was actually really into hip hop, and I still am. And even when I started taking guitar classes, uh, I didn't really know much about rock music anyway. And I used to think there's like a lead guitar player and a rhythm guitar player. And my teacher, the good teacher, he was like, there's no such thing as like a lead and a rhythm. Actually, you need to be able to play both. And yeah, but I remember being more my thinking that lead guitar is what matters, and like rhythm guitar is just like, yeah, it's just like strumming. But over time I felt the opposite, that actually having interesting rhythm guitar and having a good fluid control of like creating rhythms and then incorporating lead playing into your rhythmic playing, that is actually what is really interesting to me, and it satisfies both things. When you hear an instrumental song someone is singing over, you know right away it's wrong. I guess he's saying like there's like a certain structure which is uh, more suited to vocals, and certain structures which are more suited to instrumentals, which I do agree with. But I think the phrasing of this quote is like confusing. But I get what he's saying. Like certain songs, like when you sing on them, they do sound wrong. And certain songs kind of sound weird without vocals. So I guess he's talking about that. I can embarrass myself very easily on guitar. It's funny because people say to me, I can play anything, I'm God on the guitar. But I could make a big list of everything I can't play. I'm grateful that people don't notice that. Yeah, that's pretty, yeah, like, that's the thing. Joe Satriani. Anyone on that level, like, they have to be, like, internally humble at least, because you don't improve otherwise. Like, and I feel like as far as embarrassing myself on the guitar, I feel like the more technical skill that you have learned, which then converts into muscle memory, you can start over relying on your muscle memory. And I think that's where you can kind of embarrass yourself sometimes, because you start playing shit which is just like, you're not even thinking about it, but not in the good way. Like, it's good when you're not thinking about it, but you're feeling it. But it's like you're not thinking about it or feeling it. You're just like, I'm playing some shit. and it's fast, like, or it's like very aggressive or something, and it's all muscle memory, and all kinds of like small uh, mistakes creep up when you do that. Why is this a quote? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. So when Hendrix died, he quit the football team. I guess his coach knew he played guitar or something. I think it's quite painfully obvious when someone's practicing through an amp as opposed to someone who's really laying down some stuff that just happens to be fast. I don't know what that means. Mozart was a freaky kind of shredder. Relax, be yourself, play a lot. Good advice. But also rest. I guess, yeah, relax is resting. So yeah, Satriani used to teach Steve Vai. Anyway, uh, yep, this was reacting to a bunch of quotes from Joe Satriani, and I think a lot of them, like, they're pretty universal. Like, you can apply it to any kind of creative thing or anything like skill related. I think I'm gonna do more of these wiki quote reactions because I don't know, like, I was thinking maybe I should do some reaction videos to like some to a video or something, or about like maybe like music or mental health or something. But the what I don't like about reaction videos is half the time is like watching the video. So and then I like to be in a flow. Like I like it to flow nicely, my whatever I'm experiencing. So to have to pause the video and then like give my own commentary in the middle, it just it ruins the video, and it's like unless I really have something to say throughout the video, it doesn't really make sense, and it's just a waste of time, waste of like bandwidth, waste of energy, waste of hard disk space, like for the when I record the video. So I thought this would be better. It'll be more concise, more quick, and it's more like we can. It's just like I don't know. The point of these quotes is like they're supposed to inspire something within you, right? Like that's why people like to read quotes from people, because like that thing they said was like quite meaningful or deep or whatever. So yeah, I'll probably do like more videos like this, but I think this one I think I'm done with this one. Let's see what else we can react to.